We're going to turn now to a talk on trusted knowledge for customer service. And I want to welcome Ashu Roy, the chairman and CEO of eGain. He has been in that role since 1997. He has a master's degree in computer science from Johns Hopkins and an MBA from Stanford. So please welcome Ashu Roy.
Thank you, Jim. How many of you have seen the recent FedEx ad? It's a funny one that says even an MBA can do it. So that's my way of introduction. Good morning, everyone. I'll jump right into it. Do you all feel that you're in the middle of a hurricane now? Do you feel that way? Not yet. Yeah. You do? I think we are in the middle of a storm, a huge storm, which is spinning all around us. And it has to do with a very simple idea, just like industry was mechanized and industrialized and automated. Services are being industrialized and automated. We are at the beginning of industrialization of knowledge work. And all the excitement you see and all the challenges and all the failures and the hype and the reality, it has to do with the fact that this is the dawn of a new era where knowledge is at the center of organizations and industry. Now, GenAI has clearly started that and jump-started it. And in the last 12 months, I would say this is the report card on GenAI. Hallucinations are dropping. Capability is getting a lot better. Speed is getting better, and cost is coming down. What's there not to like? And I do mean it. I mean, the improvements that have been made in the last 12 months, it's only been 2 years, right? Almost to the week when ChatGPT was first launched, 2 years, middle of November. And here we are in a conversation which inextricably links GenAI and its go-forward technology improvements with pretty much, I would say, the most exciting part of innovation in the world. That's quite an achievement in terms of compression of technology adoption. So, of course, we don't think all is well. And it's a very simple problem, and that's why this group here, all of you, all of us, are in the middle of it. GenAI, as we all know, is an excellent interpolation tool. Interpolation tool. It does not extrapolate. So if you give it garbage, it'll give you garbage. Yes, it hallucinates once in a while, but don't humans make mistakes once in a while? So the hallucinations will solve themselves over time, but the interpolation still remains. In order for it to answer well, in order for it to be helpful, what it is fed needs to be right. It's very simple. And that's the current problem, further exacerbated by the fact that there's so much AI being thrown into this environment in the business world, which is lots of content silos, disconnected, lots of functional tools that try to make sense out of those functional silos, or those content silos, and then lots of touch points at the other end that users are trying to access to get answers. And that creates confusion, inconsistent answers, lack of trust, and poor adoption. But when you add GenAI to it, it becomes even worse. Because every inconsistent input, every untrusted input leads to poor results coming out of the GenAI system. GenAI if you think about it as a black box, is a commodity. It's a very valuable commodity, but it's a commodity. You know the inputs and the outputs, and the insides of it will keep getting better. What do you do with it is what we in this room work together to make it happen. And that's not surprising. I know the gentleman before me quoted Gartner. This is Gartner's quote from summer of this year, around July. It's saying a very simple thing. All the GenAI in the world will fail if you don't have a robust knowledge system feeding it the relevant, trusted content. That's it. In customer service, that problem is super acute because every wrong answer is measured, every wrong answer is monitored and recorded, unlike other functions. On the flip side, when you make good decisions and good answers, the results are astounding. You get lots of customer satisfaction. You get efficiencies on the other hand. So our contention and belief is that trusted answers need to come from a centralized knowledge hub. Simple, powerful, and it works. Centralize all the content silos, not by replacing the content silos. Everyone will have SharePoint and Confluence and CRM systems and call recording and email handling systems in the environment. You cannot replace that overnight. What you can do is connect them all through connectors and APIs into a knowledge hub, and then have the ability to experts and AI working together to rapidly create and curate that knowledge to deliver trusted answers. And GenAI can be super helpful in that process. And I'll tell you and show you some of the results. They're astounding. But first, the hub has to be architected for trust. And let me tell you what I mean by that. We have 7 attributes. Again, nothing here should surprise you. We just put it together. Take a look at it, and then I'll walk you through why these 7 things matter. So let's take a small, simple picture, very simple loop of a user asking a question, going through some sort of an interface, which is omni-channel. Any type of conversation could be voice, digital, doesn't matter. Go through the loop and eventually get the answer. Here's why trusted answers are important. Number 1, in order for that trust to be built, the experience with the user has to be highly consumable. Because if it's difficult, you have to think about what I'm going to ask. If I have to phrase it in a way that the system understands, that's a cognitive load that I'm not willing to undertake. So what happens? Adoption falls. And for all the knowledge that this group builds or uses, I don't know which side of the fence you're on in your organization, there's one simple metric of proof of value of knowledge. And that is, anyone take a guess? The biggest proof of value of any knowledge system is user adoption. Without user adoption, all the work we do amounts to nothing. And user adoption comes from trust and ease of use. And now you walk through that journey, going from consumability to context, on to understanding the intent in the context, to creating with reason the response. And all of this has to be evident to the user in the experience through an explainable answer, so the user feels comforted that you really got the question, and now the answer is connected to the question, and there is a connection linked there. All the way through to personalization, so that if the user is asking a question which is about a life event that's difficult, then the response is appropriately empathetic. Or if it's a millennial, then you talk in a tone that doesn't sound like mine. Right? So that's kind of the matching of the personalization. And at the end of it, if you involve the user in the process of that interaction in a way that they feel like they're part of the problem and the solution, then they trust it more. Social media. So these 7 attributes, we believe, when done well together in a platform, deliver trusted answers and user adoption. So, quick look at who we are and what we are, more importantly, what we are. So we've been doing knowledge management and AI combined before ChatGPT came along. We launched a product called Instant Answers, which was based on LLMs, in October end of 2022. So we've been looking at this for a while. And we are very proud to say that we have made great progress in the last couple of years in bringing together AI and knowledge, the intersection of those two, to deliver trusted answers and driving user adoption. I'll show you some of the stats. This is our claim. If you feel like this exceeds the bounds of credibility, I would assure you that it's not. We believe that we can reduce customer service costs of the organization by 75% over a 3-year period and improve quality. I'll show you how. Very simple. We provide a full stack solution. 3 layers, obvious: platform, process, program. You start with the product, and in the product is an expansion of what I showed you earlier, the Knowledge Hub. We have connectors, lots and lots of them, to SharePoint and Confluence, into Salesforce, ServiceNow, you name it, we have it. All of that content is pulled in automatically and then curated, organized, using experts and AI. And this process of curation and organization now can happen 5 to 10 times faster than it could before GenAI. That's the biggest prize, because then you can deliver fast knowledge updates, relevant answers, respond to feedback from your users much, much quicker than you could before. When you do that, the trust in the knowledge systems goes up. Adoption goes up. It's a virtuous cycle. That's what we are all seeing now in the market. The second layer is the process layer. And we have a point of view on this. It may not be the best in the world, but we know it works. And we have seen it work many, many times as we have implemented it. And that is prescriptive, and it starts with a simple observation that user adoption goes up by focusing on building and maintaining the knowledge you need as opposed to the knowledge you have. Every organization has a lot of knowledge. And trying to corral all that knowledge, you lose the forest for the trees. Because the ultimate goal is, what are the questions that you can answer with knowledge? Starting with that question. If you start with a very good understanding of what the questions are that your users are asking, and GenAI helps tremendously in that on our platform, then extending backwards, solving it backwards, you get to the knowledge that you need. And that can be created using experts in AI from all the content silos that you have in your organization. And that's it. We are able to deliver these projects 5 times faster than we could 2 years ago. And the last thing is an observation. And in my opinion, it's going to be that in 3 to 5 years, customer service organizations, which are today people organizations at the heart of it, 70% of the cost of a customer service organization, a large contact center, is people cost, 70%. Those organizations will become knowledge centers. You and your teams will be at the heart of these customer service organizations. Much smaller teams, but very empowered teams. Instead of 1,000 agents and 2 knowledge people working in it, You'd have 100 agents and 10 knowledge people working in it. In 5 years, I believe that'll happen. Because if you have a common source of truth, which can be made consumable and accessible, as someone said, precision and recall, as you can optimize those two in a consumable way, and you can drive every touch point with that same knowledge, you eliminate the need for a lot of human interaction, because GenAI takes care of all the interaction and conversational behavior around it. As I said, it is an interpolation tool, but it's a very good interpolation tool. In my opinion, it does a better job than most humans, myself included. Think about it. When you're faced with a question, how often do you give what you think is the best answer? I'll raise my hand and say maybe half the time. Because we are emotional. We are biased. Machines don't do that. Yes, they hallucinate once in a while, but like I said, humans make mistakes too. So the ideal combination here is trusted knowledge systems working hand in hand with GenAI interfaces. 2 examples I'll show you of people who are on the journey to that 75% reduction. First is a utility company, and they have seen this change, which is pretty significant. The other one is Cathay Pacific. I'm sure you know the name. Look at the improvements, 17% reduction in handle times and 33% reduction in first contact resolution. With that, I'll invite you to visit us in booth 100, where we are announcing our eGain AI agent. Thank you.